topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
This is Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. Do you want to live a more fulfilling life? Do you want to live your legacy and achieve your personal, professional, and financial goals? Well, coming up on Divya Parekh's Beyond Confidence, you will hear real stories of leaders, entrepreneurs, and achievers who have stepped into discomfort, shattered their status quo, and are living the life they want. You will learn how relationships are the key to achieving your aspirations and financial goals. Moving your career or business forward does not have to happen at the expense of your personal or family life, or vice versa. Learn more at www.divyaparekh.com, and you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. This is Beyond Confidence, and now here's your host, Divya Parekh.
Good morning, listeners. Today's Tuesday, and we all just got out of Thanksgiving. I don't know about y'all. That food is still lingering in my stomach. And the beauty of this is that it reminds us that there's so much more to be grateful for. It's wonderful to get together with families, have those wonderful moments that we treasure throughout the rest of our lives. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is that taking a stock of what we have and being grateful for it, rather than being in the future land at all times. Oh, I want this, I want this, I want this. And not saying that it's not important to have those big, hairy, audacious goals. Yes, go for it. I'm all for it. I'm here to support you. Because who doesn't want to have good things in their lives? And at the same token, it's so important that we are grateful for what we have. So I'm very, very grateful that I have you in my life, because without you, my fellow listeners, my fellow viewers, this show would not be there. I'm doing this show for you. So really grateful for you. And I want to thank each and every one of you for purchasing our books. Today is Giving Tuesday. If you buy our books, what we are going to do is usually we only give part of the proceeds. Today I'm going to double it and donate it to kiva.org. So I invite you to go on Amazon and pick up either of the books, Expert to Influencer or The Entrepreneur's Garden, and get the books. And from today, wherever we get, we will be doing double what we donate to Kiva based on all the sales that we have today. So look forward to getting in together with you, helping you become the influencer you want to be, or the better person, or a stronger person, or increasing your capacity, whatever your goals are, along with helping others. So today I do want to share with you, our guest who was going to be with us has fallen sick and she cannot make it. And we wish that, she recovers very quickly and we will have her on our show next time. So one of the things to think about is like, okay, so I got this message. I usually don't check my emails in the mornings. I've got a routine, do my meditation, do my gratitude journal, and find that time for myself because it's important. So now I read this message somewhere around 9:30. And of course, this is a live show. So in 25 minutes, we are going to go on the air. I send her a nice message, like, hope she feels better. And then I'm thinking, okay, what are we going to talk about? So I thought, why not talk about emotions and AI? Because as soon as I read that email, what happened? That quick, our amygdala, it went into it, just kind of like it goes into that overdrive mode and thinking, my guest is not coming. What's going to be the other option? So I calmed it down, took a step back, and thought, why not? This gives me an opportunity to talk to you directly. And why not talk about artificial intelligence? Because it is here to change our lives. I don't know. For those of you, some of you may not even remember the time when the internet kind of stepped in, really, really big time. And then the emails came in. So if any of you remember, it was during the time of AOL. And you would sit in front of those computers. And I used to have this gigantic monitor, a big computer on the, like a desktop. And when the email would come, it would go tit, 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 tit. And there would be some time before it would take you in the email. Then there was also a phase of GPS. Oh, yeah, probably y'all don't remember, but I could read maps. Yeah, even though I'm really bad at directions, I could read maps and figure out my way. And then some of those detours we would have to take. And sometimes you would stop, maybe at a local store, especially when we would go out on family vacations, family trips. Those used to be fun days. And when the GPS came, there was that trepidation, skepticism. Oh, this is here to change my life. Google search. The old way is so much better. And this has happened with every invention. Now, is every invention just there for the good of the humanity? What I say is that invention or innovation or discovery, whatever it is only as good as what we make of it. The human hand is never going to leave the interactions. The human hand is always going to be at the helm. Now, the key is that what kind of captain you're going to be of that ship. Whether we like it or not, AI is here to stay. And initially, when it came out, I went through all the stages that I'm going to talk about today. That everybody, most of the people go through. I'm not saying everybody, but most of the people go through whenever you face life-changing situation. And it's not just the invention or innovation or something new that's coming into our lives. It can be a loss. It can be a job loss. It can be a loss of a loved one. We go through multiple stages, and similarly, for AI, there are 6 stages. So it was around probably October, November of 2022. I was sitting and having a conversation with one of my fellow colleagues, and they said, "Oh, have you heard about this exciting thing?" And I'm like, "What exciting thing?" They're like, "Oh, it's all over the news." And as we were talking, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, artificial intelligence." And it was a completely unknown commodity. And here I was. I've been writing before ChatGPT. I've had tons of books published before ChatGPT and Copilot and Gemini, Anthropic, and Facebook's Llama and all these large language learning models. We're not going to go into the technological details today. And I was like, oh, this is so good. It writes. And I faced that fear and denial. And there were so many emotions kind of running through me. I'm like, so what? Are we going to lose all our capabilities? Are we going to lose? And this is the thing. You lose some, you gain some. And it's up to you on how do you keep your skill sets, your mindset, and your psyche and yourself either stronger than before or weaker than before, or somewhere in the middle. I was upset. I went through a lot of emotions. And then one of the things I've learned in my life journey is that sometimes I will have initial resistance to things. And then over the course of years, I keep on training myself. I keep on working on myself because the way I see life is working on oneself till the last day of your life because there's so much more to learn. The more I learn, the more I realize that the less I know. I don't know about y'all, but if we were to take a whole circle, let's say a circle of what we know, personally, I would say that there's a very tiny sliver or a pie, very tiny section of that circle where I could say these are the things that I know. Then there is another piece of pie where I could say these are the things I know I don't know. And the rest is I don't know what I don't know. I know this is complicated. What I'm talking about, but just visualize that circle. So when we don't know what we don't know to so many things, how about being open to possibilities? And how about just seeing where the AI can take us? So going back to my journey, I said, all right, I'm going to check it out and see what's going to happen. So going back to my writing and writing my books, I was like, so if AI is going to write, how are we going to know who's writing, who's not? And that's a story for another day. Yes, a conversation for another day. You can tell what's being written by AI and what's written by the human beings. And maybe in the near future, the lines will blur. But at the core of it, guess what? I still write a lot of my things because I'll tell you, since I started using the GPS and smartphones, I did resist. I did resist to smartphones. A lot of years went by. I did not have it. I'm like, I'm the last one who's going to have it. And then I resisted it. I was in denial. I was stuck in the past, like the old ways, the traditional methods are the way to go. And especially if you're in a company, or whether, let's say, if you're a manager or if you're a CEO, here's the thing. Even you, yes, whether you're a professional, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're going to cling. Not all of you, but we all tend to get nostalgic. We tend to cling to the familiar practices, the traditional methods. And we just say, oh, maybe it's a fad, it'll pass. It's a state of denial, like I had with the cell phones. I'm like, it's going to go away. And I had my flip phone where what I would do is I would punch, like, when you had to text someone, because everybody else was using smartphones and people would text me and I was just kind of going at one little those buttons and like pressing those to get my text. I resisted it. I denied it. But what did it do? It was taking me longer time to send people messages, whether it was at work or in family. So what it do? It damaged a lot of my progress because I refused to adapt and grow with the times. And it can even lead to missed opportunities for you. So I did that. I know that from experience. And that's just one story. I could go on and on with different stories where I've resisted things. And then when I look at it, during the hindsight, of course, hindsight is 2020, and be like, oh, I wish I had learned it earlier. Why not? Oh, what was I thinking? So easy to say that, right? What was I thinking? So when this time around AI came, the key is not about keep on making the same mistakes over and over again in life, but it's about learning from those mistakes and not repeating it. So what did I do? Yep. I'm going to get on the horse right now, whether I know how to ride it or not, and I'm going to go ride that wave. That's my imagination. Riding a horse on that wave of the ocean. That's how AI is. Yes, it's hard to comprehend, hard to digest. Now, does that mean like just because you're open, you'll not go through the other emotions? You will. So I'm just going to continue using my journey. It's okay. I was not in denial. Now, what happened was when I bought the cell phone, I was upset. I'm like, oh, why do I have to learn all of these things? Like all these apps. Don't we have enough with social media? Don't we have with all of this? Because there's a lot of fear and uncertainty. It's like there's so much technology that people are having fatigue. Yes, there's something called app fatigue. There's something called Zoom fatigue. So similarly, AI is no different. It's going to build up frustration because it's not the reality. Like in 2022, there was fear that what will happen to my job. Today, it's a reality. Think about it. What I'm going to tell you is that if you are being an ostrich with your head buried in the sand, you'll be a turkey. Now, what does ostrich have to do with the turkey? I'm going to tell you that you'll be a turkey in the sense is that turkey has a great time, but like once Thanksgiving dinner is over, it's all and done. It's gone. Well, it has served its purpose. It has brought the family and all that together. But then you're out of running. So don't be a turkey. So the key is we are seeing, and I could give you stats that have shown that companies have laid off people because AI is replacing the job. So don't be a turkey. Don't be a turkey. You become the smart one where you're not the turkey, but you're the one who can have a farm of turkeys, who can learn AI and future-proof their careers. So the second step is frustration, as we talked about. That, oh gosh, it is going to take away my security, my satisfaction, all the work that has been put in, all the workflows we have had, all the processes and everything. And I'll tell you, being an author, I did feel that AI is going to take over my creative side. It doesn't. I did experience that. Now, do I use it for all of my stuff? I don't, but I can give you an example. So many times I will get a ton of, yes, let's say a 30-page document or a report from my clients where they want to know, like, okay, this is my report. How could I go ahead and summarize it, make it more concise and all that? Then let's say so many times what happens is you are on a call, you're on a meeting, and you want the whole notes to be summarized rather than watching the video completely and taking down notes. And I could go on and on and on. There are like hundreds of use cases where I wish I have an executive assistant. I wish I had a team. I could do so much more. So during this frustration period, it's not just going to go away at the snap of a fingers, because emotions are not like the tap that you open up a tap, water comes out, you close the tap, water goes away. The key is that while you're recognizing your emotions, just like I did, I recognized that I was fearful that my writing powers would go away. No, they're not. It's up to me how I use AI. I'm at the helm. I'm the one who's going to make the decisions. I gotta hold myself accountable. So Do I still write? I do. So just recently I wrote a poem from my heart to say thank you to everyone and post it on my social media. But do I use AI? Oh yeah, I use AI as my executive assistant. I use AI as my team. And why not? It frees up time. My productivity has gone 100x. I'm working with my clients whose productivity has gone 100x with using AI and art. Does that mean all these emotions are going to go away? No. Let's go to the third stage. The third stage is there could be a choking sense of despair and hopelessness, whether it's an individual or whether it's within your company or whether you're an entrepreneur. AI is going to crush me. There's no point of my learning. Yes, usually people go through these emotions. And if you're running a company or if you're a manager, even if you're a professional, doesn't matter. Wherever you're at, you may experience it. And it may like, okay, I'm going to be so inadequate. What is my use? It's like it's going to be causing anxiety and uncertainty in your careers. So, and especially in industries where the automation is standard, workers are going to feel, oh gosh, like, what is my worth? AI is doing the work. Am I going to be? AI is going to be more efficient and more productive than I am. And that's the truth. It is going to be. But here's the thing. You are the one who can make decisions. You are the one who can do the critical thinking. You are the one who can connect with other human beings. And yes, there are newer models of AI that do the reasonable thinking. But here's what I'll tell you. The key is to push it, to test it to the jagged edge of the frontiers, to see what it can do. Does it do mistake? It does. I have fascinating conversations with AI where I've given it to evaluate something and give me like key points where I don't want to spend the time to do it. Now, does that mean I don't double check its work? I do double check its work and I find that it misses out. But that's fine. Why is it fine? Because what could have taken me 4 hours, now I only have to spend 1 hour. Does it free up my time to do more creative work? Yes. And as a matter of fact, I'm working on writing my book on AI. I sit there and I think it gives me time to connect with you. It gives me time to understand other people more. It gives me time to work on myself, work on my personal growth, work on building that relationship. So maybe allow me to do other things that I wouldn't have thought of doing it. So the key is that when you're in the grip of that fear, it is critical to address it. It is critical to know that you will always be in charge, no matter how strong that AI gets. All right. So once you have handled that, the fear is still there, but you're open to trying it. The next stage comes of experimentation. Let me think. Maybe I can use AI to my advantage. And then what happens is that hopelessness and despair is gone, and now curiosity replaces it. They start checking out AI tools to improve their work. Now, the key is not just be dependent on AI tools. The key is learning. How does AI work? How does it reason? Knowing it in and out, not just using the tools. And yes, that's going to be a long haul. That initial stage of learning, that's an uphill battle. But guess what? That's how you get ahead of AI. You build those metacognitive skills. You build those critical thinking skills where where again, you're the leader, where you're developing that emotional intelligence. So think about it. I'm going to share with you one of the stories of my clients. So a senior VP who came to me and said, Divya, if all of my employees are going to do it, If I am just depending on the AI, it levels the playing field. What edge do I have? What advantage do I have? And I said, it's awesome about this democratization that AI brings. It does level the playing field. And yet, the experience, the values you bring to the table, what you stand for, you're carrying your heart, that's what's going to differentiate. The humanity will differentiate people from each other. How much do you really care for them? And those skill set of emotional intelligence, of critical thinking, leadership development, they're not going to go away. So take that fear out. And he was open to it. And as we work through it, so there are several stages, and sometimes it can take 5 to 6 months to really learn AI. And as I said earlier, do you learn anything completely? No. But it is the mastery that you're building. You're building your cognitive skills as you're training yourself through it, deepening your level. So I always say that you can go a mile wide and an inch deep, or you can go an inch wide and a mile deep. So it's about going mile deep into it. And as you are experimenting with it, you're taking that active role and defining what areas of your job could be improved. You are thinking strategically. You are gaining confidence. Not only that, you are developing an innovative mindset. So as we worked through it, he went through the process and made the decision. Yep, I'm going to harness the power of AI, not only for my success. And he really cared about his team, but also for my team. And then what started happening was they started implementing AI into the workflows and started from implementation to integration. They slowly started implementing it and started seeing like, oh, this grunt work, this grind that I gotta do, AI can do it. Whether it is looking at routine processes, improving customer service operations, or data analysis for decision making, or I could go on, the different things that could happen. Having tasks and making informed strategic decisions. But again, double checking behind it. I always say double check on it. So going back to my senior VP, we'll call him John, their job satisfaction level and effectiveness has increased 100x. Yes. And did they lay off people? No. You know why? Because now that team has become the role model for the rest of the company. And here's the thing, especially if you're a CEO or a leader. 2 years back, KPMG, it's an institution that does surveys, showed that people were thinking, oh yeah, we'll think about the AI. Now 70% of companies not only want people who are trained in AI, but also they have budget set aside for AI. So here's the thing. It's here to stay. And if you push it aside, you may be able to survive. You may be able to thrive for maybe a few years, maybe find some areas. And of course, there are going to be certain areas where AI is not going to step in. But depending on which area you are in, depending on where you are at, AI is going to make inroads. So think about it. Think about as the emotions that we are talking about. And as we talked about, once you've made the decision, do you want to integrate AI as part of your life, as part of your team? And it's okay wherever you're at. Allow room for those emotions to process. And always remember, emotions are not a wall, they're a doorway. The only way out is through. Fear can hold you back. Fear can keep you in its grips. It's terrifying to enter that doorway. But remember, here's where the transformation happens. And remember, it's not just a tool, it's the strategy, it's the skill sets that you gotta learn. Just don't go pick a tool and say, yep, I'm good at AI. No, get to know it. And here's what I'll say that. Usually I'm a fan of Spider-Man. I like superheroes. So a lot of Spider-Man books, excuse me, and movies are always talking about with great power comes great responsibility. So remember, as the integration will deepen, so will the importance and significance of ethical consideration, accountability, and transparency. I'd say never, never let that go. Whatever you're doing. So let's say I'll share another example of one of my clients. What they had done was they had used AI for reviewing some of the data that came from different people. So the data can be used, like, for example, resume reviews. For example, it could be who the loan can be given to. So there are different instances and not specifically stating anything. And now think about it. AI is as good as what you put into it. And that's where, again, the learning and thinking comes in. So they were training it on the existing data. Now, will it have a bias? Yes, it will have a bias. So it's, again, what you're putting into it. It's important to look through it. It's important to see how you're training it. And that's where the ethical consideration come in. Can you put in guardrails? Yes, you can. You can put in guardrails so that those biases don't show up. You can put in guardrails so that it works with you. It's aligned with your values. And especially if you have a company or if you're providing a service as an entrepreneur, can you be transparent? Sure, you can. Can you hold yourself and your team accountable? Yes, you can. So that's where the human touch remains essential in decision-making process, because that's how you can ensure that AI stays within the boundaries of our human morals, within our human standards. And yes, the journey is going to be shaky, but the rewards are going to be big. And here's what I can tell you. If you're thinking, whether you're just getting starting out, whether you are just even thinking about AI, or whether you've started learning AI and want to learn more, or wherever you are at in your journey of AI, here's what I can share with you. We have created courses, we have created training, and I'm part of another team where they have developers working through at all times together. So even if you're a itty bitty curious, or whether if you are a leader of a company and thinking like, okay, I want to bring this into my organization. I want to start a pilot program because I want to talk about that. Like, for a small company, you can start with 3 or 4 people, run a pilot program and see how it flows. What are the results? As a matter of fact, recently, one of my other partners shared that they saw a year's worth of return on investment. Yes, a year's worth of return on investment within a week. So if you're even a little bit curious, reach out to us. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. It is my first and last name, Divya Parekh, or you can contact me via email, contact@divyaparekh.com, and I'll be happy Yes, I'll be happy to sit down with you and we can assess where you're at and what's good for you. You don't need the whole enchilada. It's not a buffet where you gotta eat every single thing. The goal is, the key is, remember that where you're at, where you want to be, and what's right for you. It's all about customization and taking tiny itty bitty steps. And remember, in a microwave culture that is filled with TikTok, Instagram, and quick fix ads, right? Everything says, oh, yeah, you can learn things in a minute, over a week, or over a month. But the real learning takes time. So if you're looking to get ahead of people, and I'm not saying you're getting ahead of other people or anything like that, but here's the harsh truth. People who will build their metacognitive skills, people who will develop the strategic thinking and creative thinking as to how to use AI, not just use AI tools, will get ahead. And I know this sounds bad, but that's the reality. That's the truth. So if you're looking to do that, where you can future-proof yourself and your jobs or your business, connect with us. And of course, I'm really, really grateful. Grateful to you, to being part of my life and being part of our show. So reach out, let us know. I want to thank you. I want to wish you a wonderful holiday season. And of course, we'll be talking to you in the coming weeks as well. And I want to thank Juan for making the show technically possible and being so adaptive. Thank you, Juan. Be well and take care until next time.
Thank you for being part of Beyond Confidence with your host, Divya Parekh. We hope you have learned more about how to start living the life you want. Each week on Beyond Confidence, you hear stories of real people who have experienced growth by overcoming their fears and building meaningful relationships. During Beyond Confidence, Divya Parekh shares what happened to her when she stepped out of her comfort zone to work directly with people across the globe. She not only coaches people how to form heart connections, but also transform relationships to mutually beneficial partnerships as they strive to live the life they want. If you are ready to live the life you want and leverage your strengths, learn more at www.divyaparekh.com. And you can connect with Divya at contact@divyaparekh.com. We look forward to you joining us next week.